So the main thing we're seeing is that Saturn over the IC and coming up to the Saturn return, the second Saturn return, to 2020. So that's the main factor that he's going through. So you'd be asking what happened to you in '89, what happened then, what happened now. So just as there was a wave from '89 on, which brought him to Canada and brought him out to build up his own world away from home and family, more in his style. Now it's coming around to the next hit, and what's the next world he's building up? I think it's his own intelligence, his own values, and being able to write things, be listened to for what he knows. So this is my sense of it, but I can see these are very formative times, and it really depends on what he's frustrated with, what he doesn't want to put up with anymore, what he doesn't want to do. That's the Saturn going through the third house. But it's all about learning and deep things. It's a deep time. Okay. Get to the 8-year graph. And okay. 2015, no hassle. 2016, no. We're going to look at Pluto. Nothing. There's no only hassle with Pluto comes in 2022. Pluto squares his sun. We saw it in Capricorn. It's going to come up and square the sun, which is at the end of Libra, and it's Mercury. And it's going to be the sun and then the Mercury. It's going to be challenging what's true, what's not true. That's the Pluto to the sun and Pluto to the Mercury. So that can be really strong working time. There can be challenging time. But it's forced truthful time. One's having to be truthful. There's a necessity to it. Okay. Neptune, no Neptune problems during this whole 8-year period. This is done from 2019 is down below. Usually I put it up there, but here we go. Now we get to Uranus, and we start looking at Uranus. You can see there's a lot of action with Uranus. Nothing in 2015, 16, but in 2017, everything started to change. His confidence started getting shaken up to 2017 and 18. His thoughts were being disrupted. His plans were being changed. Something wasn't working the way he was expecting it to do. And that's gone right up to the beginning to February, March of this year. Okay, all this stuff was happening, and then it was somewhere in here, just after this was happening, that we contacted, and he started picking up coming in to study the progression, to go over the progressions on the advanced case studies again. So, but I think this would change it. I think probably maybe it was a change in the company and the world and where he's working, and he's not in a stable position, or maybe the job went and he's having to be challenged to, do I dare go, do I get another job, or do I, like he's getting older, do you get another job, or do you try and do something for yourself? But certainly there's been a threat. Under those type of threats, this is disruptions. Now, this could, at the same time, Uranus to the sun and to the Mercury, it's with his plans and with his confidence, it could be something, it's coming from the fourth house, but it could be tied to his relationships. It could be changing in the relationship of what the partner's doing or how they're being and what he wants to do, but he's not going to be feeling confident about writing his stuff or getting his ideas down during that period. He's just coming, fortunately, that's past. He's coming out of that Uranus. And it's going along. Right now, we've been going through the classes, no hassle from that. And 2020, smooth, no power struggles, no confusion, no big shocks. And in 2021, the Uranus starts opposing the Mars. This is again, it can be changes of jobs, or disruptions of jobs. It's certainly disrupting his Martian energy, which is he's going to have the dream of, this is where we're going, this is what we're doing, this is how it's going to be. And the plan got changed over the last 2 years. What he's actually able to do, how much he's able to do. These are disruptions. They can be accident prone, they can be disruptions of job, they can be temperamental, but he's not going to be patient during this. If he's been holding into a job that he doesn't want, or he's not being treated well, he's not going to be able to want to stay through that. Or if he's trying to hold on, maybe the company changes and it changes that. There's a big change in what he's doing. It's disrupting. When Uranus, it comes as a shock. A year or two after it's over, it just gets rid of what doesn't belong. So whatever he's doing that doesn't belong is being blasted. Okay, at the same time, these are Uranus opposed to the Moon. This is not, by then he's 60. It is not the most sexual or powerful time, but Where does he put the energy? It's being disrupted. Something's changing from what he set up, the way he's done things. It's changing around that. I don't think he has kids. If he has kids, these are the kids doing something differently and not fitting into the pattern. And changes around that. So at this point, he could be thinking, do I get out of here? Do I go back? Do I leave? Do what? Like, so much, if things are changing, what am I going to do? So that's ahead. Okay, that's a worry looking at the future. You see, that's any big plan he tries to set up now is more of desperation coming out of his Uranus opposed his Sun is out of his insecurity, and there's no need to set up huge schemes because they probably come crashing down in 21, 22. So if he was thinking of changing jobs, if his job changed, he's going to have to scramble. You scramble through Uranus. So, like, he had to scramble through the last few years. He's got a calm right now, but he's going to be scrambling through a couple more years before it's stable. So this is not the time where you throw away the job. As you get by with, you might have 2 or 3 things that you're doing just to scramble to get by, because it's hard to know what's stable. This, of course, affects his whole psychology or his attitude to things. So Uranus is highly active. Things are changing other than what he had planned. Now we look at the Saturn. So we have a sense of where the Saturn is. Well, here we see the Saturn square in 2018, nothing, 15, 16, 17. Then all of a sudden, everything piled up, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Suddenly the chart's very active against the background of how it was set up before. So it was stable somewhat before. Now, what's stable? So the Saturn squared the ascendant. It squared the Venus, squared the ascendant, and squared Venus, squared the ascendant, squared the moon. I didn't get it. It was the squares here, but it was from the fit everything in. But they're all in there all this time. So every 7 years, Saturn's going to, when it hits the beginning of a cardinal sign, it's going to hit his moon, it's going to hit his Venus, it's going to hit his ascendant, going to hit his angles. They're always big 7-year adjustments. So this is one of them. You know, you went back, you go back 7 years, to 2011, 2020, 2011, that was the last one. So if we look back, 2010, that was Saturn going over the ascendant and going to conjunct the Sun. So, okay. But here, at the end of 2018, Saturn opposes the midheaven, hits the conjunction. Actually, only hits it once exactly. But the Saturn squaring the Venus before the moon, there's pressure for family. He's not content. He's depressed. He's frustrated. It's 2018. It hits his IC, and he knows, I don't live like this. I can't live like this anymore. I can't do like this. And still, there were changes going on, but he made the decision, I got to change. He already knows what he wants to get away from. Okay. Now there's a bit of calm. There's been a bit of calm. He's been studying the astrology. He's been doing his other things. I don't know when, but it's calmed out a little bit since he started coming back and doing the astrology. That's reinforcing his ideas or his knowledge. Then there's a challenge to try and work. Saturn comes in and squares the Sun next year and squares his Mercury. So the Saturn, you could say it's a depression on one hand. It's a feeling of not good enough, but really it's telling you, I have to work harder. I'm working on my ideas. I'm working on my goals. I'm adjusting my goals. So he's trying to figure out a plan. Doing this up ahead. He's got some serious thinking to plan. So if he's starting to do the astrology, he's going to be working at it, but he could be working at writing, he'd be doing this. This is practical, you know, trying to put extra effort in. And it's having to prove yourself. So there's a lot of pressure on, but the pressure really is for him to make the effort to get his goals and his ideas, to make a commitment to his goals and ideas. Otherwise, it's just going to be more negative by putting up with other people's ideas and people telling him what to do, which is not really his nature. So he's going to think it through himself. This is just some plan. Saturn's not the enemy. It's not like it's building up some stability. How can I do things? Maybe I got to delay. Maybe I got to hold a job a little bit longer. Maybe I got to hold on a bit longer. Maybe he holds on to his job and just keeps working on the astrology on the side. But maybe he starts adding some consultations, working on to try and get his confidence. His confidence is not going to be the best through this year, but he's going to have to work on his ideas, the Libra, to make this happen, to go with this. Still effort. Then 2020, this work pays off. You make it through that adjustment, that effort's being made. It's effort being made. It takes time, and time demands. It requires discipline, requires personal effort. That's fine. But it's not where you're receiving and you think, oh, this is like it. It's not Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. It's not. It's free from the beginning. It's just if he had to get himself together, and he probably could have been doing astrology a lot longer. Maybe he has to work a little harder to do a bit more of it or something, or build his confidence up some more. Maybe study something else to add something else into it. Okay, so the Saturn's down below. He's supposed to have been in school for the last 6 or 7 years. And whether he was working, whether he was studying, probably both things were going on, but certainly something shook it up in the last couple of years. Now Saturn's hit the IC, he knows what he wants to get away from, he knows he has to change it. This just means extra effort to try and put the extra time in, the discipline, the pressure, big decisions, adjusting the goals. That's partly 2020, so that's 20, that's 60, 59. So this is, do you take an early retirement or not? I would say at this point, not yet. You know, it's a few years, it's 4 years before you get to 65. But there's, Saturn just means there's hard work here. Saturn hits his Mars in 2021. After it finishes this, he got the plan, he's working on it, it's hard work, he's making the effort to do this. At the same time, there's disruptions and impatience coming around on what he's doing. So this is preparing for retirement, trying to be cautious, having a plan, having an attack, knowing how to live the lifestyle you want, having to work hard enough to get it, hang in long enough. By the time he gets through 2021 and 2022, it's Uranus squaring, opposing his Mars, and then in 2022, Pluto squaring his Sun. At that point, maybe he doesn't want to work anymore. Maybe he has to retire anymore. Maybe things are forced to change. This is the work, the Saturn going through these things. But this is Saturn going through the 4th and 5th houses. So it's about developing skills, adding skills to improve, to adjust, being able to be having things that you can do to make you more functional. For him to use this astrology, start using the astrology, it would give him something he could do to be talking to people, and people coming to get his advice when he's older. It doesn't let him fall into the pocket of isolation and old age. I think it's a spiritual path kicking in. He's got things to do, and maybe he has. It may not be just astrology. Maybe some other healing things and other things coming into this picture. But he's got to be working to put them together to make the effort to make it happen. It's not going to happen simply. I'm going to try this. Going to make the effort here, and if he doesn't make the effort, the Saturn's going to depress him. That the Saturn's depressing him or restricting him is telling him exactly that that's what he has to work to fix. So that's not there forever. He has some rebuilding to do from what's been lost and changed. But really, Saturn, it's just about time he started doing it. Okay, same with Saturn hitting there. But still, there's disruptions to Mars, which could be work, physical energy. There's shocks and changes going on at the same time. So this is prep work. This is more shocks coming in, confrontation coming in. So really, it's perhaps being the fear of being retired. But really, for him, retirement should be really the blessing that gets him to live the way he wants to live. It's the beginning of his spiritual life. Of course, a lot would depend on whether his wife was on this spiritual path or into these things at all too. Okay, so we're getting the texture. We're seeing the set. We know this is the setup. You see the intensity, you see it, and we got the 8-year graph. It's set up. We got a good sense of all the transits, of what's involved. We know Saturn's down. It went over his IC, December 18, and that was when the motivation came. That's when the key seed moment of 30 years of what's his personal targeting, what he doesn't want, what he has to move away from. It'd been personal growth until then. Now it's changing and he wants to go. So if he didn't get as much personal growth as he wanted to during that time, he would have to get more of it now. If he got enough but wasn't working with it, he's going to have to start applying it more. And that's the effort. Okay.